Good day, everyone. This is Steve Leveille and Donald Potter for your second part on Nova Scotia Sunny News concerning the unfortunate event that happened in 1969. So my understanding is that Donald wanted to show a few pictures along with the details about his court case.
Well, here we have, I'll bring it up there, my twin brother and I, when we started in the Navy League Cadets at 9 years old. And we, we're using this picture for the book that I'm writing called Twins at Sea, Left for Dead. The Twins at Sea is what we were when we joined up into cadets at 9 years old, and we went up through the ranks, and we went from Navy League cadets to Sea cadets to Army cadets. Then we went into the reserve, and then into the regular Navy.
Yeah.
So, continuing from the last series where I left off, we were struck down by another sailor in uniform while we were at shore for only a few hours while our ship was gathering ammunition and refueling. As we were walking over Barrington Street Road, as I mentioned, we were struck down and left at the bottom of a hill construction site of Barrington Street Road, and amongst the rocks we were unconscious, and Donald Ross Hutton got out of his car after striking us down while he was impaired, and he looked upon us, went back into his car with his wife at his side. He was the driver, and they left and they went away. He escaped to his ship after signing back in, not reporting anything about the accident. The following taxi behind him with two other sailors were our heroes, and I must emphasize they were the heroes that saved our lives. Part of the reason I came back to the Halifax was to forgive. I can never forget, but I can forgive Donald Ross Hutton for what he did to us. But it always has landed in my mind, why? Why would he leave us for dead? I couldn't comprehend that. And then I wanted to ask that question. Now, Donald Ross Hutton Mary, who was the owner of the car, has passed away a couple of years ago, I think in 2013. And where I live in Montreal, there was an ad in the paper that just by coincidence, I read the obituaries that day. I can't understand because I never read them. But I read the obituaries, and what stood out? Mary Hutton. Well, when I saw Mary Hutton, I said it's impossible that it would reflect anything from anywhere from Halifax. The odds are 1 out of 2 million, maybe 3, 4 million, that you would ever pick up an ad for someone who died in Halifax in Montreal. So when I saw Mary Hutton, I just looked, and it was Donald Ross Hutton was the spouse. I said, I don't believe it. Why would it be in a Montreal paper? And I still don't understand. But the funeral service was out here at a Methodist church here, and I checked, and yes, it was the same family.
Okay.
So I was buzzed by that, and I said, something is pushing me to find a resolve, even if it's me telling him I forgive him, even if it's telling me that I'm going to forgive the guy.
Okay.
But the sequence to that accident, when we were in the hospital,
Yes.
the hospital not letting us know if either one of us were alive,
Right.
stunned me even more. And so what I said, and to you in the last one where we left off,
Yes.
is that I was in traction. My head was bloodied. I had stitches in the head, hearing, left ear bleeding. My left arm and my left leg were up in traction, and I had a fractured sacrum, and I had post-concussion syndrome.
Right.
Well, and the nurse wouldn't let us know, so I told the nurse, I said, I'm going to go see my brother. And she put her face right into mine, and she was a miserable nurse, just didn't want to, always in a bad mood. And she took this needle and stuck it in my thigh, and I could feel the needle go all the way up to my tonsils. That's how bad it was. And I'd be sedated. But no way were we allowed to communicate with anybody, not our next of kin or anybody. And we weren't allowed to speak to each other, not even to hear just the fact that he was alive. Absolutely refused. So I wanted to file a military police report, and I wasn't allowed. And the reason why I wanted to follow up with a military police report is because I couldn't believe that we were in uniform, under orders. We were struck by another sailor. We were left for dead, and the military police never came to communicate with us. The civilian police never came and asked us questions. Nobody came to see us, and we weren't allowed to talk to anybody. So we were totally isolated. It's unbelievable. And so, to the time that my brother was there, and he was only allowed to see me the day before he left to go back to sea.
Yes.
But on the interim, what I tried to do, go down to see him, and I said to the nurse, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it. And she said, you'll never make it to the end of the bed. Then following day, I said, enough is enough. This is 3 or 4 days now I'm in there. I'm not allowed to know my brother's alive. It was a lunch hour. I took my knife, and my left, all my left side was secured. I mean, it was in traction, so I had only my right hand to use. I took the knife and I cut my left arm down.
Yes.
And you know, when your arm is in traction, your leg is in traction, you might want to control it, but you haven't. It's the weight that's going to control your arm. My luck, it hit the bar on the side of the bed, and I could feel the pain go right up to my head. And then I did the same thing with my leg, and my leg, again, it hit the toes hit the end of the bar that goes up, the safety bar that's up. Again, and then all of a sudden, I feel the full weight of my leg and my arm down. I crawled to the side of the bed, and I said, I'm going to go. Guys that were behind me in the beds, because it was an open ward, said, don't go down, you're not going to make it. Potter, you're not going to make it. I said, I was in the Army before I was in the Navy, and I dragged myself through the trenches with the Armored Corps, with the Tank Corps, Hussars, and everything else. I said, I'm going to make it. I'm going to go get my brother. So I dragged myself over to the wall, and I was right on the opposite wall of the wall were the elevators. So I said, I'm going to make it. No way I'm not going to make it. I don't want to know if my brother's alive.
Right.
So I dragged myself along the floor, my ear bleeding and everything, just a total mess. And the guys wouldn't believe it. I got to the wall. I must have been the first Spider-Man, that was ever invented. I started to climb up the wall, using my strategy that when I was in the Army, and it's good training. So I grew up the wall, and the guys started to give me encouragement. They said, okay, you can make it, you can make it, go for it, go for it. I had tears in my eyes. Because I couldn't believe the support that I was getting from the other guys now. I made it to the wall. And now they're encouraging me. So my adrenaline, and I guess I was only working on adrenaline, got me to the other side of the wall, and I saw the elevator. So when I saw the elevator, I went across the hall. I went for it. And I was almost there, and the damn elevator door closes, and I'm afraid that that woman, that mean nurse, is going to catch me again. And I said, I got to go to the other side, so I go to the other side. Mm-hmm. The elevator comes, and right by the door, I lose conscience.
Okay.
I go back on my head, fall to the floor, stitches open again. I wake up, where? In the stupid operating room, where the nurse is looking over me and said, I told you you wouldn't make it. I'm doing everything within my power. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm so disgusted. I'm so much in pain. Everything's blurry, and all as I could say is, I'll do it again. I get stitched up. What happens? They bring me back to bed. I go back up into traction, a whole left side. But now they put restraint on my wrist, on my right wrist, and my right foot.
Okay.
I mean, why put it on my right foot? I mean, if I can't use my wrist, I can't take everything down with my foot, right? But I was totally restricted. And then I was told, you are not to communicate with anybody, period. And I said, I want to see the priest. I want to make a report to military police. I want to know what's going on. I want to know if my brother's alive, and I don't care if I live. I don't care if I die, because if you're not letting me speak to my brother, I presume he's dead. So I want to die too. And there was no question about hesitating on whether I wanted to live or die. If he wasn't alive, I didn't want to live.
Yes, I understand.
So where it goes from there is that I was supposed to be hospitalized for 30 days.
Right.
By orders in the documents that I have here, which I'll show you after, for 30 days. With a 14-day leave for sick leave after I'm reassessed, and I go on 14 days sick leave, and then I'm reassessed again, and then I go to see if I'm fit. What do? They let me go home. They keep me in the hospital for only 6 days. They send my brother back to sea on the 5th day, and before he goes, he said, I'm not going to go to sea unless you let me see my brother. So while I'm sedated, they let him come and see me, but they keep me sedated so we cannot communicate, we cannot talk. So he sees that I'm alive, they send him to sea. They tell him and reassure him, as per the documents I have here, that I'll be okay. All these are documented. He goes to sea. My 30 days hospitalization is cut to 6. One more day than him, so we don't communicate, and he's gone. Then they send me home. I sleep on a train. I can't sit on a train. I don't have a sleeper in the train. So I have to take the Halifax train from to Halifax to Montreal. And the conductor that was there puts me in a men's washroom, laying on a straight bench for the whole 18 hours that I'm going home, because I don't have any money enough to pay for a sleeper. So I'm watching the men go to the washroom, pulling their strides down and up and down, and the only thing I could do is watch them go to the washroom for the whole 18 hours that I get to Montreal. Then the same thing coming back. When my leave is cut from 14 days to 11 days, and then from 11 days to 10 days, cutting my leave, punishment. wanted me to get out of my parents' house back to sea, so we couldn't coordinate anything with the authorities. They sent me to sea. I get back, the 6 days leave, right back to sea on the HMCS Marguerite. I get onto Marguerite, and the documents here says that while I was on the HMCS Marguerite, that I was dizzy. I had headaches. I was vomiting. I was not able to keep my balance, and that's by the Surgeon General February 10th. And February 10th, I'm at sea. He says I'm no condition. And then on page 2 of the same document, they say that I have post-trauma syndrome, and that I should be followed up for at least 6 months. Now, that being said, my brother had lesser injuries than I had. Much lesser injuries. He was in better condition. He went back to sea, but they put him on light duty. Me, I had all these very, very severe fractured coccyx. You can't walk, you can't sit down. You're throwing up over the side, you're dizzy, you're complaining about your headaches. I was no condition, and the doctor himself on February 10th said I'm not allowed at sea. Shouldn't be at sea in that condition. And I put on not light duty, regular duty. And then regular duty, I was a communications officer. So what I had to do is I had to go into the radio room. I was on training, and I had to go Morse code, which is coming through the radio on my headsets. But at the same time, you have this sound. Plus the dotted and the Morse code. It's excruciating when it's high or low pitched. So I wasn't able to do my course. So they threw me out onto the deck and punished me with a damn scraper with other people that were using scraper to scrape the deck, the metal deck, while the ship was moving through the ocean when I couldn't even keep my balance. So I was being punished because I said I wanted to file a report against the medical administration. They did not want us to communicate whatsoever with the police, with the media. And they were on damage control because what would happen, ask yourself this, what would happen if it leaked out to the media that a sailor was drunk and his family was a prominent member of a society, that a drunken sailor had struck 2 other sailors in uniform on duty and left them for dead? It would have been a fiasco. All kinds of questions asked. But my question is, why weren't the military police doing what they should have done at the time?
I can definitely understand that this is a very heavy-duty case. And I'm glad that we had the chance to do the second part. It is definitely very disappointing and with a lot of empathy towards you. We will definitely continue, and we definitely hope for the best. It is definitely a very sad case. But thank you very much for being with us, and we will definitely continue. Thank you.
Thank you.